Hey y'all, welcome back to another holiday recipe video. So in this one we're going to be making some cabbage. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and break this down. This one is kind of big. So you do want to use a sharp knife because you don't want to be messing around and cutting yourself. But I went ahead and cut up one half of it, and now I'm going to show you exactly what I did with the other half. And the first thing I did is remove this core. So I kind of cut a triangle right here. And then rather than cutting that whole triangle on the back end too, you can just kind of go down right here, and then that is your core removed. Then the next thing you want to do is take off all of these leaves that just don't look good. They're kind of wilted, people have been touching them, they're just kind of funky. So I'm going to take all of these off, and then if there's any spots that just don't look good, you can take that off too. And throw all this in the trash. And then I'm going to cut this into 3. So that's 2 cuts. And then slice it this way into thin strips. So we're completely done chopping it, and the next step is going to be to rinse it, and you want to make sure to give it a pretty thorough rinse. So I have my pot ready, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat up to high or somewhere close to high. And I cooked some bacon for breakfast. I heated it up in the oven, so I'm going to just use this bacon grease in place of like normal oil or like olive oil or whatever, just because I have it. But typically I would make this with olive oil. You don't have to use bacon at all. You don't have to use any pork products or any animal products. You really don't need it. But since I have it, I'm going to use it. So there is my bacon grease. I'm going to let it coat the bottom of the pan. And you kind of need a larger pan for this, just because there's so much cabbage. The volume of it is so much. It will cook down, and when it does, you can transfer it to a smaller pot if you want to. But in the beginning, there's a lot of it, so you need a pan that can take all of it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in this first batch. And then I'm gonna rinse the second batch and then throw that in as well. So I gave it a few minutes to steam, and now I'm going to check on it. Alright, I had to take it off the heat so y'all can hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and start seasoning it. I'm going to put some salt. This is seriously one of the easiest vegetables you can make. So I got salt. I'm going to add some complete seasoning. This is optional. You don't have to use this if you don't want to, but I just have some. So I typically just throw it into almost everything because it doesn't hurt. Some onion powder, garlic powder, you could also put some fresh garlic in here if you wanted to. I'm gonna throw in some black pepper. If you want a spicy kick, you can add some Creole seasoning or some cayenne pepper. And then the last seasoning I'm going to add is a chicken bouillon cube. This is the Magi brand, Magi, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but any brand will do, but this is the one I'm using. So I'm going to throw that in, and this will give it a really good flavor as well. And then you just want to add some water, and essentially that chicken bouillon cube is going to create kind of like a chicken broth. You could use a veggie bouillon cube if you're a vegetarian and you don't want any meat or meat additives in your vegetables. Then just use a vegetable cube, anything you want. This is highly customizable. So I added about 2.5 cups of water, and you can see it in there. And the cabbage is going to make its own water too, so you don't need to so you really don't need to overdo it on the water or broth. You could also add chicken broth if you wanted to just skip the cube. You could add chicken broth or chicken stock. So I'm going to pop the top back on this and drop the temperature down to medium low, and then cook it for maybe another 15 to 20 minutes, and then come back and taste it. Okay, so I've been cooking this on low for about 20 minutes, and it looks so good. I went ahead and gave it a taste, and it's perfect. So all it needs is a little bit of salt. So I'm going to throw that in, and then it is ready to serve. One other thing I will say about this though is that sometimes cabbage can be bitter. So if your cabbage is a little bit bitter, just add a little bit of sugar, maybe about a tablespoon, and that should help to counteract some of that bitterness. But if it's not bitter, then you probably don't need to add any sugar, and this turned out absolutely perfect. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like plated.